Hello world. Patricia O'Connor and Frida Reba Dorsey. Wait. See if I can do this. Frida Reba Dorsey here. Tonight we are in Frida's place. Little Bobbin got her head up there. What we're doing, I'm going to pan back over, squeak, scroll. Okay. What we're doing tonight is we're in Frida's place and it's Friday night. And what you're looking at is our Dawn Redwood. I'm Patricia O'Connor, my partner in crime, Frida Reba Dorsey, and this is our Dawn Redwood. And we've had our trials and tribulations with this tree over the years. I got this. I bought this as a box tree, what you call a box tree. Whatever you go online and find some bonsai store, and you just buy a box tree, and that's something that I did a number of years ago, and it was our Dawn Redwood, and it was before I got my bald cypress trees, and this is a very close cousin to those trees. It doesn't buttress the way a bald cypress does, but like a bald cypress, it loses all of its leaves. It loses all of its foliage in the winter, and we've had a couple of weird times. I've found. Whereas I found the bald cypress to be hardy, and also I haven't overly messed with those. I overly messed with this in the beginning, thinking that it was as hardy as the bald cypress, and we've been playing a kind of a weird back and forth ever since. And I've got parts of this tree that are growing on here that I've wanted to cut off for years, but couldn't because there wasn't enough other foliage on it. So I've got some stuff like this that's not really the most desirable, right? And I've got some stuff like this huge knot over here that's not necessarily the most desirable. So this limb wouldn't be a bad length, and it wouldn't be a bad diameter in itself. It's too bad I don't have something lower, right? But we're trying to get some health and vigor back in the tree, and we have a lot of things that are sprouting out on this tree this spring, and we're going to wire some of those things. We're going to wire some of those things into position, and they will help us later to eliminate some of the big blocky things that that we don't need. For instance, this limb, as I was saying, wasn't a bad limb, but it's attached to a huge block of wood over here that I would really like to cut away if I had an alternative. And I do. It's right here. I've already given this guy a little bit of this motion. It was sticking up like these branches, but I've already, in experimenting to see how that would do, saw that, yeah, that'll, and it's coming out of the base down in here. So at some point we could wire this guy right into place right here, and then I won't do anything. Just because I have a suitable replacement for this huge block of wood, this wouldn't necessarily be the time to cut that. We need to probably keep as much of this foliage going as we can. Everybody, we're not going to make any choices as in cutting stuff off. Everybody gets to play all summer. Everything that we see right here, plus anything else it wants to put out, we will let run all summer. So that's the idea. Is we're still just trying to put energy back into this guy. What has happened to it? It's gotten a couple of. It had a bad bout. It had a couple of bad bouts. I cut it back, pruned it back really hard one year, and did a styling change. And right after that, got, what was it? Powdery mildew. But it was the weirdest thing. It got powdery mildew where the foliage looked just like this. It looked fine until you touched it and it would go ping, and then you realized that it had dried with color in place, and the whole tree was already wrecked before I kind of noticed. It was just like, wow. So after that time, the tree didn't come back all year, and then the following year, I think I lost the crown on it, trying to do something with the apex. Working with the apex on this tree has proven to be not as easy as what I would preach to people on the bald cypress front. That apex is pretty easy. It's pretty easy to rejuvenate, store it over. Whenever my bald cypress gets the summer slow doldrums, I'll chop it here and take the next branch and bend it up and watch that grow 6 or 7 inches and watch everything beneath it get active again. It's just a way to pick stuff up. So, but what we're going to do tonight is we're going to take all of this stuff that's growing straight up. We're going to take some of this and we're going to wire it down so that it can help us build structure, because we finally are having some choices that aren't the worst. My coffee really good. I've got quite a few tools here to play with tonight. Way more than I'll need. So yeah, I guess we'll just. So yeah, I haven't done any wiring on our program, and it's been a minute. And this isn't going to be some freaky deaky stuff like what we're used to either. This is going to be a little more low key. This growth on here is all very, very green. I could probably snap it fairly easy. So by what we're intending to do with this is just kind of bend it. It's just kind of bend it down so that it doesn't go straight up and try to be another top, but it assumes its place as a branch. Okay, so harnessing our the 2-branch system. However, in this, I'm just using part of this as an anchor, and I am not as concerned with the shape of the other branch. In other words, yeah, not as concerned with the shape of the other branch. In fact, I could wire this out, I suppose, but for what we're doing, it could be done with that one. Take it over here. Be done with it. Move on to the next one. Because all I really wanted to do was just pull it down. Yeah, that'll be fine. Let's do that now. Those are my Nip-X pruners. So now This will be my new bottom branch, and we'll let all of this stuff that's attached to this huge block, all of this stuff is cool foliage and all, but we're not going to use any of it. We're not going to use any of it. At some point, we'll cut this away, but this is there, bam. Now, it's kind of got. It wasn't expecting to be the new first branch of the Associata, but it is now, and it'll start straightening out here in a minute. Maybe I could do that and help it out a little. All right, so that's our first branch, and the idea is this will be a regular branch that's a regular size in the beginning of something new, and will allow us to cut that huge block off. It would be nice if I had something like that coming out of this part, but I don't. We'll give it the rest of the summer and see. What we're looking at here is this is the vein and this is the vein, and I think that's basically the two living veins. Everything else here in the center is that would make for some really interesting carving if I just wanted to take out all of this little piece right here and still maintain all of these shapes, providing I turned both of those shapes into like one silhouette, with some air in between. I think that could be a cool look. I haven't been doing a lot of. Yeah, I'm thinking that would probably require moto tools and stuff, and I haven't been doing a lot of that. Now this is also, this is a little young to be playing with, but this could take its rightful place and be our next nice branch there as well. Going to waste. This is by the way, what we're using is copper wire. Yeah, may not be on there very long, and I mean, not golly, did I say copper wire? What we're using tonight is aluminum wire. It may not be on there very long, so I don't really. Don't do that. That's too much. Go with the thinner gauge. We're using aluminum wire tonight, and I don't think it's going to be on there long enough for this to be copper. I mean, for this to be copper. Where's my? There it is. That could also have. Okay. And the crows. It's late afternoon. It's dusk here in good old Alameda. It was a beautiful, beautiful day today. Don't break it. No. Do that, go around it once. I've had to do that on the ball cypress too. You don't have necessarily a second branch right there to go with, and you end up just wrapping a wire haphazardly around the base of the tree, or which is just what I did. I don't have a problem for that. That's not. There's no such. Well, I guess there is such thing as show iron, but if there was such thing as show iron, this ain't it. We're just trying to take branches that are doing that and get them to do this. They are so green that if I even tried to put the little serpentine bend in them, I would likely break them. But they'll also never be easier to flatten out than right now. So yeah. And this is our next great branch for that, as is this one. And as green as they are, let's see. And those are both just doing just like that. So good bonsai would say we cut one of them. And we will. Just not right now. I'm giving this one a little bit. If you see what I'm doing, I don't know how well that reads, but I'm just leaning on the crotch of this one a little and trying to get it to flatten out. Now it'll start going back up, but I can also, without wiring it, it's too little to wire right now, but right now this also helps to get it out of my way. And I've also trained limbs this way before, but when I had more time, I don't have time to babysit this every 2 days and make sure this guy is flattening out. But that I can wire, and that might be risky, but that I can wire. Did I lose a wall? Do I have a piece? No, I used to. Okay. So, because this is green stuff and because I don't expect it to be on there long enough to dig in, we're going with aluminum wire. Also, like where you're seeing me, where you just saw me wrap it around the trunk. That's a little easier. It's a little easier to do when you haven't paid copper prices for the wire. It doesn't feel like it hurts you as much to do that. Waste a foot of wire going around a trunk. That's enough. I kind of want to go all, just go right on out with that, but this stuff is so green, I'm just like, put some motion in it and stop. Don't go all crazy. So, this guy, or maybe this guy, and this guy, and this guy, and this guy are the new vet parts. And they are going to replace this, which will just, maybe we'll get, we got that. We got a chute right here that's going to replace all of that. That's going to be that locally, I don't know. Yeah, something over here would be sweet over here. That's what we're wanting. That's what I would like. Something now over here, so I could lose that. And then looking at the vein on this side that goes all the way down into here, and looking at the vein on this side that goes all the way down into here, I would also like to see something. I would also like to see something uh, come out over here. I would love to see something start working down. No, it's in there really solid. That's still a solid tree. Looks like it's a solid tree. Okay. So, which one? Anything else? Gotta give that the, just let that go. I think that's got us, I think that's a good start. Everything else on this, John Redwood, we are just going to let go all summer, along with it's still got buds all over it that haven't come out yet, along with anything else it wants to. I wonder if maybe some back budding would be sweet. We could entice the back budding. I think wiring those branches down, or I think just having those branches show up, is a great next move for this tree. This could have been helpful to my way of thinking, except that it's attached to the top of this big block of wood, and I would like to cut all of that away. I think we can do better. I think we can do better. Maybe some of this stuff in here is it, and I just don't see it. There's some growth coming out here at the crotch, and normally you would just like, well, you're going to cut all of that out. Well, no, maybe I might, but I'm going to cut all of this part off, and maybe that growth in there could help me out if it comes out a little more and I see better what it is. Okay, I like the way this tree is flushing out. I like the choices that it gave us this spring. It didn't give us a whole lot of them yet, but it has given us some that we can work with. I wired this guy, and I wired this guy, and we put them into position to where those are going to be our new associata, our new bottom branch. Where are you at? Here. When these guys get a little older, we'll follow suit and do that, and do more of that, and do more of that. And that'll be, and this is us. This is us coming back with our Dawn Redwood. What I was saying earlier, I could see maybe all of this part here that's dead. That could be carved out without touching this rollover in such a way that you could see light all the way through it. That, but then you would still have the trunk coming up, both halves of a trunk coming up, making their half of an apex. I think that would be kind of cool. Their outside lines would both be reflecting taper, while their inside lines were maybe had light coming through them. Anyway, that's an okay start. As you noticed, I didn't do anything about bringing this down. That would drastically change the look of the tree for the better right now. But that's still attached to this big, huge block of wood, and I'm looking to cut that off. So zero sum in wiring that and folding it down, unless it would just be for energy allocation or something. I don't really see the need. I appreciate you. Frida here appreciates you. And like and subscribe if you guys haven't already. It's Friday night. Our next post will be tomorrow. Tomorrow we will go out and grab up we might grab up our cork bark oak. I had said I was going to take my hands off of the wire for it And that's just been kind of a sabbatical that I'm over. I'll probably wire some of the branches on the cork bark oak this spring and set a little motion in that. Maybe not the S stuff, but just more like this, pulling stuff down into a usable shape. And thank you all so much for watching.